What's up, everybody? It's Cameron here. I am by myself today. Aubrey is not joining me for these. So I think, especially, just so you guys understand, especially after our last episode, which just came out a few days ago, where we talked about this song and this album by Katy Perry, we really enjoy doing those discussion episodes. And I think that Aubrey and I are going to stick to doing just the discussion episodes on like broader topics and albums and stuff. But when it comes to the song breakdowns, which I personally like doing and I think add a lot of value to the channel and to the podcast, I'm just going to take these on solo now because Aubrey is a busy man. I only get him for one night a week, so we got to make it count. And those discussions are just too much fun. On the other hand, I'm a musical little hobgoblin sitting in my cave, and I can sit and talk about a Katy Perry song for however long I can talk about it for, as long as possible. So yeah, if you enjoy the pod, but we still are we're still gonna keep doing that like normal, and hopefully covering some interesting topics like best albums from the 70s, or what makes a great album based on 70s albums, or the science of music, or just general album reviews and stuff. But if you are like me and you really want to get into the thick of it and like really dissect a song and every part of a song and analyze it, I think these will be for you. So let's jump into it. So we're talking about Truth by Katy Perry. It's off of her new album 143. It's pretty cool. I actually, it's funny because I have this love-hate relationship with this song, where it definitely stuck out to me compared to some of the other songs. I think the music is actually pretty decent. Like there's the music doesn't just like suck ass like a lot of the other stuff on her album, especially Woman's World. But the lyric, and real quick, there is a theme, like there's a decent theme here about basically, I want to know the truth even if it hurts me. But the presentation of that theme and the lyrics specifically, I think are just terrible. And it's just such a good example to me of how you can take something like a solid foundation with some decent music that's actually decently cool, and then a solid theme like I want to know the truth even if it hurts me, like everyone can relate to that theme, and then you just present it in the worst, lamest, dumbest way, and it just kind of makes the song flounder a little bit. Like I feel like this song is a bit of a missed opportunity on the album. And yeah, it just feels, when I think about this song as a song that's out there in the musical world, it just feels like this, like a magic carp just splashing around like a fish. Very silly. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna really dive in and talk about it in depth. So let's get to it. So let's just start playing the song real quick. It's a cool little bass line. I'm gonna pause it right there. So yeah, they've got the main bass line there, which is like a do da da doom do, which that's fun. I like that. And then there's this really like tense, dark synth building tension there. It almost sounds like the Dark Knight theme from Batman, from the Dark Knight. So yeah, just a decent intro. I remember hearing it and thinking like, okay, this is definitely like more subdued and interesting. But yeah, that's about all I can say there with that. But then she makes kind of an interesting choice here in this next section, where she actually plays, the chorus. So here, let's just, I'm going to take it back just a few seconds, and then we're going to jump into this next section. Real sweet. Hear that bass? So real quick, we've got that bass line is now a little bit more pronounced, a little more umph in it. Boom, da da dum. There's also like I don't know what you would call like a sparkle synth in the background, kind of layering the sound. Like listen very closely. It's a very light, high pitched sparkle. Hear that shine. Um, so I really, one of the things that I like about the music on this song is that this song is kind of meant to be like I call them like nighttime driving songs, right? Like it kind of makes me think of you know, I feel like there's this class of songs that are meant to be played when you're like driving home at night, or like you have a long car ride and it's just dark outside and the highway's empty or something, you know? And it's like I think about like this is a completely different type of song, but like Bullet for My Valentine, oh my God, what's it called? Tears Don't Fall. Like if you listen to Tears Don't Fall by Bullet for My Valentine, it's got like this similar like here, hold on, I'll play a little bit of it. Like that, like this is just perfect for driving home in the dark, you know? Um Here. Something about that, I know that might be an interesting take on that, but I always felt like I just think there's this class of songs that are meant to be played like that, like these nighttime songs, and it fits with kind of what she's going for with the theme, which is like, it's very investigative. Like I want to know the truth, so I like it. And so the way that they kind of capture that, you know, nighttime vibe usually is by having not a whole lot of first off, you can't have intense drums. The drums have to be a little more subdued. So like here, I've still got the Bullet for My Valentine song pulled up. So here, listen. Hear how the kick drum on the kick, like the bass drum, is very sparse, and even the snare, it's kind of in these unorthodox places. But then there's just this like cymbal work, kind of like a modern day rap song. See, right in that whole little space there, there's no snare or kick drum. Right here. So the point is that to capture this like nighttime, you know, eerie, creepy aesthetic, you kind of have to, you can't have intense drums over it. The drums have to build tension and be a little more in the background. But then the other things that you can do is have like a, you know, a bass line that is very, you know, not necessarily in your face, but still strong. Essentially, you hit the highs and the lows of the frequency range. So you have lots of high pitched stuff and you have lots of low pitched stuff. And then the whole mid range, it's kind of empty. So then it makes it feel like the song, that's how you get that empty feeling in the song while still making it sound full, because you're still hitting everything on the frequency range. You're hitting those high shimmering, you know, synths. Let's listen again. Like right now, there, you know, she's singing in the middle, but the drums are very, very low, but you just have this really low bass and then this really high synth. And so all of this mid range is kind of gone. By contrast, listen to something like, let's listen to like this. You hear how like just that main synth, this is Gimme Gimme, that main synth, that dun 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 dun, like that's right in that mid range there. So it sounds very full on its own. And then when the beat actually comes in, it sounds like a very full song. It's still pretty sparse compared to a lot of songs, but it definitely doesn't have that like, you know, ethereal nighttime feel to it. Anyway, so let's get back to Truth. We kind of, so anyway, the point is that she's capturing those frequency ranges, leaving the mid range open for just her vocals. So it leaves plenty of room for her to sound like she's, you know, very empty feeling behind her. Cool. So I think that kind of explains that. So let's talk about her actually putting the chorus there. So I've mentioned this in a few songs before, and it's a smart tactic, right? You putting in the chorus or a little bit of lyrics or the melody especially, having it at the beginning of the song just so that like the chorus melody at the beginning of the song, so that way when you get to the chorus later on, it feels like something you've heard before because you have. So it actually helps you retain the chorus in your memory, and you remember making it more memorable and getting it stuck in your head, which is how they kind of trick you into wanting to listen to the song more. I say trick. It's not necessarily like a conniving thing. It's more of just an awareness of like, hey, I've got a good chorus melody. How can I lead up to it? Taylor Swift does it all the time with many, many, many of her songs. Um, it's just a songwriting technique. It's nothing crazy, but in this case, she chose to put the full chorus at the beginning, which I think is kind of interesting. Funnily enough, I'm not going to pull it back up, but the Bullet from a Valentine song I listed actually has the same thing, except they have the chorus music at the beginning. In Tears Don't Fall, that's where all those heavy instruments come in. They're actually playing the chorus, so it's kind of interesting comparison between these two. But anyway, putting the chorus at the beginning does help establish it in the listener's ear, and it can kind of how can I phrase this? It kind of so let me put it like this. If you were writing a song and you put the chorus at the beginning, usually the purpose behind that is to evolve what that chorus means over time. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but what I would have liked to hear, or what would have been more interesting thing for her to do, is to have that chorus play once and then maybe have your verse and pre-chorus and then come back to the chorus again like normal. And that's where, okay, yeah, the chorus means what I think it means still. But then when you come back to it like a third time or even a fourth time, it now retains it now has a different meaning based on what happens in the bridge, for example. So that's kind of that's one of the interesting things about having a chorus at the beginning, is that you can actually change what that chorus means over time, by with the rest of the song and with the other lyrics that you show, or the other part of the story that you tell. She doesn't do that in this song. If anything, the chorus at the beginning feels like kind of a way to still have a three chorus song without actually having, the full verse chorus, bridge chorus song structure. So interesting choice. I don't think it really does much for the song. And in fact, in this case, I think it almost spells out the theme a little bit too blatantly. So let's talk about the theme real quick. This was the big thing that Aubrey and I spoke about on the main episode. So if you haven't listened to that, definitely go listen. I think it might give you some more context on what I'm saying now. But basically, the theme of a work of art is the message of it. Like, what's the point of this artwork? Like, what is it trying to say? And I think good art doesn't, it doesn't force that theme down your throat. It leaves it up to interpretation. And, you know, I think good art typically has lots of themes. There's lots of things that you can pull from it, lots of little tidbits of wisdom. The example I gave was Afterlife by Avenged Sevenfold, where, the theme could be, live your life to its fullest while you can when you're alive on Earth. Or another theme could be, learning to let go of loved ones who've passed away, or something like that. There's lots of themes that you can find in great stories, right? It's like you can look at something like Lord of the Rings. Like I'm just thinking of a commonly known, great story. And I think Lord of the Rings is up there. There's lots of themes in Lord of the Rings. There's lots of, little tidbits of wisdom that you can pull from each character. So I think that music is no different. Usually a great song has lots of little pieces of, thematic wisdom that you can pull from it. When we come back to this song, it's a little bit of a bummer that it's like, here's the theme right up front. Like, you no longer need to worry about interpreting what this song is about. I'm going to tell you. And that's why I say if Katy Perry was maybe a more accomplished artist or a more talented artist, I think that she would have had that theme change throughout the song and maybe mean something different by the end based on what she says in the, the lyric in the verses and the pre-choruses, but that's not what happened. The theme remains the same throughout. So I think it's a little bit of a shallow way to present a theme. One of the another example that I gave was the song "The Thank You" by Dido. Let's take a listen to that real quick, actually, because I think that's a really great song. So when we listen to this song, pay attention. I'm going to skim through it just a little bit, but pay attention to how like sad and minor key the song starts off with, and then when the chorus comes in, how positive it sounds. Again, I'm going to kind of assume if you're listening, you to this, you also listen to the main podcast episode. And the main point that I made in that episode is that, or what I explained in that episode is that this theme is about having the word, or this song for, the theme for this song, "Thank You" by Dido, it's about having the worst day of your life, but because of somebody special in your life, you're actually having the best day. So you would be having the worst day, but you're actually having a great day because of how much you care about this person in your life. So that and that juxtaposition, that like change from having the worst day to actually, no, I'm having the best day because I get to be with you, and I want to thank you for that. That is a very it's almost like a key change that happens in the song, going from minor key to major key. So let's listen real quick. Hear how melancholy that sounds? It's very sad, Very minor key, very sad. And then we can come over here to I'm going to try to skip to the chorus. And then you call me and it's not so bad. See? It's not so bad. You hear that? Like that change there? Even like those little background vocals, hear how positive it sounds now? It's that it actually sounds like a breath of fresh air, and like it's relieving. It's almost like, and she says that, and then you call me and I realize that it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's like she's expressing that emotion very, very well with, not just her lyrics and her singing style, but also with the music and the keys or the chords that she's playing. That's a really smart way to present your theme. And that's how you can use the music and use everything to bolster this theme of like, even when I'm having a bad day, you still brighten up my day. Right. So anyway, my point being is that you can take a theme and present it in so many different ways. And I think just outright saying it at the beginning of the song is not the best way to do it. That is my take. So yeah, we're gonna get into the theme in general, like whether or not it's a good theme, because I actually think the way she presents it with the lyrics and everything else don't help. It could be a situation where like you present the theme at the beginning of the song and then you start, you do a great job explaining, you have this very interesting story, or you have this interesting tale that you want to tell about figuring out the truth, even if it, despite how much it hurts you. That's not really what happens here. This isn't like some amazing story. It's a pretty basic story. So let's get back into that. So I've realized I haven't let the full chorus at the beginning play out, so I'm going to let it play fully this time. So the drum beat is super generic as well. It's just very normal. It sounds nice and it all works, but it's not anything special. The last element or two elements that I want to point out before we move into the verse is the high-pitched synths. I really like these, and this kind of lends itself to what I was saying earlier about like covering the highs and the lows of the frequency spectrum in order to give it that like empty feel, because there's no mid-range. Check it out. Listen to this high synth. Hit da na 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 na. right here. I really like that. I like synths like that. I think it's actually a pretty unique sounding synth too. So yeah, again, compliments to the music. It's all pretty cool, and even her vocal melody, you know, da 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 da, na 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 na. Like that's a decent vocal melody, and she sings it well. Katy Perry's always been an incredible singer. So, the last little bit of this is this quick little build up. It's gonna happen right when I press pause again, or right when I press play again. But you'll hear it's like a almost like a Mario. Take a listen. It's really short. Listen one more time. I'm gonna play it. 3, 2, 1. Here. So yeah, they just throw that little bit in there to transition, which is fine. It again, it's nothing special, but it's not bad either. It sounds nice. So then we get into the verse, and I think this is where let's just play this verse real quick. Let me take it back just a tiny bit. So let's pause there. So I think this verse is very interesting. We go back to that subdued synth from the beginning. The no 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 no. The bass is much more pronounced. It's a very interesting sounding bass here. I really like the way that it sounds. I think it's the most interesting musical element. I think there's like a small extra snare beat on the drums. Let's see if I can catch it. But other than that, the drums stay the same. So yeah, I'm gonna play it again and listen to that bass line and then listen to the drums. Hear that drum beat there? That so, fun little change in the drums. Again, it's like this song, as I've said at the beginning, it feels like a missed opportunity. I think that there's all these really nice pieces here. Like this bass line's cool. The drums actually sound nice and they work well with the rest of the music. I like that little background, you know, Dark Knight synth or whatever you want to call it. You know, there's these elements for a great like little investigative story or something deep. And even the lyrics that she says here, I've got a vision keeping me up at night. The next lyric is, my intuition's telling me things ain't right. You know, it's like, okay, this isn't necessarily like, nothing's really gone wrong yet in this song other than, you know, explaining the theme at the beginning. So I remember listening to this for the first time just being like, okay, like she just explained what the theme is, but other than that, where's this song going? So yeah, let's listen to the rest of this. My intuition's telling me things ain't right. So a few things here. Let's talk about her vocal performance here. She sounds really good. Again, she always sounds good. The melody is, you know, na 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 na. It's fine. It's a cool little melody. I do think that the you know, little repeated lines that she does, the up at night and the things ain't right, I think that those sound a bit over compressed. I feel like when you have a little background line like that, it's supposed to sound in the background or softer, like an echo, and I think it's just a little too compressed, so it sounds a little sharp. Not sharp pitch wise, but like sharp to your ear. Take a listen for that line and try to see what I'm talking about. Oh, and just in case y'all don't know, compression is basically when you take the highs and the lows of the audio track and you squeeze them together. So you basically, like, if she's singing into the mic in the booth, for example, and she does a take and she's, you know, she sings something that's very, very loud, compression will lower the volume of that. And then if there's something that's very, very quiet that she's saying, compression will bring that up. And what that means is like little inaudible sounds that happen whenever you're just normally talking, those will get increased to a volume that we're not used to listening to. And so when things sound over compressed, there's typically like this sharpness, like everything sounds like, if I get closer to the mic, everything sounds very in your face, and it actually starts to distort the audio just a little bit. Try to listen for what I'm talking about so you can hear what that sounds like. Right here. Hear how it's in the background. It's kind of echoey, or it's got a lot of reverb on it, but it still sounds like when she says like up at night, like right when she says up, it almost sounds like there's a smack, like a up at night. Listen to that again. It's very subtle. Like it's just a little harsh. Like it could have been a little bit softer, and I feel like it should have been. It's a very minor detail, but it was something that stuck out to me. When the whole song is meant to be, like I said, nighttime driving, ethereal song, having that background vocal be a little too compressed and in your face versus maybe a little bit softer and you know, smoother. Because if think about it like this, if it wasn't compressed, when she says up, like when you think about the sound, the up, like that initial sound making like a it's like it is it gets louder as you say that sound, like but if you compress the beginning of it, the second that your mouth starts to make that noise, it brings that up in volume more than it normally would be. So rather than letting it kind of gradually be like a up at night, it's up at night. And anyway, I'm spending a ton of time on that, but it was a little thing that took me out of it because I could hear the overproduction on it. So let's play that one more time. So yeah, I do want to point out, and I'm going to get into the pre-chorus here next, but there is no musical change between the verse or pre-chorus that I could find. So yeah, anyway, the verse lyrics: I got a vision keeping me up at night. My intuition's telling me things ain't right. That's cool. There's nothing like, that's fine. We're setting the song up. So let's get into it. Let's get into the next section. My intuition's telling me things ain't I'm just gonna let it play out. Oh, you know what? I'm listening on my better headphones right now. There is a really slight synth change there. It's really, really quiet. And I think I've only been able to hear it. I wasn't able to hear it on my AirPods, but I can hear it on my mixing headphones, which is what I'm using right now. It's a very light synth in the background. There's a synth sweep into the pre-chorus, which is pretty obvious. Just a normal like shoop, one of those little things. Check it out. Right here. That's pretty normal, but there is kind of this like wavering synth in the background here. Try to hear it. It's like da 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 da. Listen. It's super subtle. I don't even know. You might be able to hear it, but it's like no 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 no. I feel like Cartman in that episode of South Park when he's got the psychic powers, or he thinks he's got psychic powers. He's like no 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 no. All right, cool. So other than that, though, I don't think there's any actual any other change. So let's listen to this again so I can make sure. So the bass line's the same. Yeah. And then we have another little synth sweep into the chorus. So I think that's pretty much everything musically for that section. There's just that little wavering synth in the background, and then everything stays the same. So let's talk about the vocals. Um, I actually think that the melody is really cool. So she kind of has this like doubled effect on the first. It's like a call and response melody essentially, where she says a line and then she kind of does like an answer to it. So can't look in the mirror. What is it you're trying to hide? Can't give me your password to your phone, not start a fight. You're treating me different. Like all that whole thing. Excuse my singing, by the way. I'm a guitarist, not a singer. But uh, all right, so let's take a listen to that, and you can hear like I just think this is cool. I think stuff like this little call and response type of thing is cool, where she asks or she says something and then she asks the question. Um, Take a listen. See, I think that's actually really cool musically. It's just I like how she's almost singing like they're very. What am I trying to say? There's very different like pitch regions that she's singing in as well. So the doubled line, the like can't look in the mirror. It's a very like high pitched like it's not she's not even like shouting it. It's just this very high pitched singing style, kind of angelic or whatever you want to call it. And then she's got this sly lower pitched vocal line after it. What is it you're trying to hide? Is that da 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 da? Yeah, that's just regular eighth notes. Da 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 da. But the and I do like how much faster the can't look in the mirror. Like that's a pretty clever little it's a faster melody. It's a more exciting melody than the slower, more melodic, like questioning, like what is it you're trying to hide? So yeah, long story short, I'm complimenting her vocal performance. I think she sounds great, and the melodies are actually pretty cool. Um, Now here, let's finish doing the melodies because then she does like a different thing. You're with the next part. You're treating me different. Tell me what's going through your mind. Yeah, so she goes down, you're treating me different. So she goes, can't look in the mirror, can't give me your password, you're treating me different, you're acting so distant. Like that, it's a nice little change. It's cool. Like they put some work into that, getting that right and making it flow properly. Um, cool. So now that I've kind of explained that, let's talk real quick. There's one more last thing with the melody that I want to talk about, which is uh, these faster parts after in the second half. Tell me what's going through your mind, who you see when you close your eyes. She sounds. I think it does sound a little cluttered. So I like the call and response. I like the difference between the first half and the second half in the call and response, where it goes from like higher pitch to like lower, more sly, like questioning. But I do think, especially the tell me what's going through your mind sounds really clunky. Same with the can't give me your password to your phone, not start a fight. Like it just sounds clunky to me, but let's listen real quick. Like it almost is hard to tell what she says there. To your phone, not start a fight. It's like to your phone and not start. Like it's just weird. It's clunky lyrics to me. It's clunky. Uh, it just sounds kind of clunky. I don't know. But it's this line especially. Maybe I'm thinking of a different line because that actually didn't sound. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, everybody. I'm thinking of the second pre-chorus. She says like I'm seeing it different now that I'm outside of the storm. It sounds really corny then. Okay, because I was listening to it just then and I was like, oh, actually, tell me what's going through your mind doesn't sound too bad. So cool. We'll cover that when we get to it. But for right now, last thing to talk about here, and this is like the most significant thing, are the lyrics. So I'm going to be honest. I think these lyrics are terrible. Like I for example, it's like when you think about corny, cringy, stereotypical lyrics in a pop song, like these are those lyrics. Like, can't look in the mirror. What is it you're trying to hide? You're treating me different. Tell me what's going through your mind. You're acting so distant. Who you see when you close your eyes. Like that, all of that is just gobbledygook as far as I'm concerned. It's just mush. It's very amateur in my mind. But I think the kind of, I don't know, the line that takes the cake is can't give me your password to your phone, not start a fight. Like that, I'm gonna be 100%. That was when I gave up on this song mentally the first time I was listening to it. It's like that is the type of line, and it, Aubrey and I discussed this on the episode of like, this resonates with a lot of people. Like a lot of people can relate to like, oh, I think my partner's cheating on me, so I went through their phone, or like they won't let me look at their phone, or they won't give me their password or something like that, or what are they hiding, right? And like everyone can kind of, I think most people have dealt with something like that in their life, and they get it. That's fine, but I need, I want y'all to maybe take a different perspective on it. And this is the perspective that I've got. Imagine that you're Katy Perry, you've played at the Super Bowl, you have millions of fans worldwide, tons of like musical equity, whatever you want to call it, like goodwill. Like you can get, your flop album is still going to sell better than 90%, 99% of other artists' albums, right? And so you can do whatever you want. You can tell whatever story you want. You can talk about whatever you want, anything. And I just want y'all to imagine being in that position where you are up on this pedestal with millions of fans, and that pressure is on you, and you write, can't give me your password to your phone and not start a fight. It's lame. It's lame. And honestly, it's like, it's one of those moments where I'm like, man, we really put up the wrong people. It's just stupid. It's a stupid line. It's the type of line that like a middle school girl would put into her song, like her first or second pop song that she's writing, right? It's something that like Jojo Siwa would say, can't give me your password to your phone and not start a fight. Like that's something Jojo Siwa would sing. It's silly. And as a reminder, Katy Perry is 39. She's a grown ass woman. This is embarrassing, and as far as I'm concerned. And like, I'm kind of, I don't know. Personally, I'm tired of beating around the bush when it comes to stuff like this. Like it's stupid lyrics, and we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard on this type of shit. Like it's bad. It's dumb. They're dumb lyrics. And when you can write about anything that you want, anything, you could write about, how hard your life is. You could write about, how much you love your boyfriend. You could write about, I want to know the truth. And like, even if it hurts me, and write about what it's like to have a partner who cheats, and still come up with more interesting, unique, lyrics than this. Like I think a similar song to this would be, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a similar song would be Say My Name by Destiny's Child. Right? Say my name, say my name. If no one is around you, say, baby, I love you. If you ain't running game, say my name, say my name. You're acting kind of shady, ain't calling me baby. Why the sudden change? It's like all of those lyrics are 10 times more interesting, and they are not, it's essentially the same theme, right? It's like, I feel like something's wrong. And even when you get into the verse here, it's like, any other day I would call and you would say, baby, how's your day? But today it ain't the same. Every other word is, yeah, okay. Could it be that you are at the crib with another lady? It's like, it's the exact same theme presented. In fact, let's listen to Say My Name, because that's actually a great song. Classic. Remember, same theme. Like, I don't know that you're cheating, but I suspect it because you're acting weird. You're acting suspicious, right? That's the kind of the general theme. Dog John, nah. Same one is around you. Say, baby, I love you. If you ain't running game, say my name, say my name. So the idea is like, I'm suspicious of you, so now I want to hear you say my name, because the way that you say my name is going to determine, it's going to inform me about your feelings about me and whether you're still committed to me or if you're, with somebody else or you're cheating on me, right? It's a very clever, it's a very clever line. It's a very clever approach to this theme, and I think that's one of the reasons why the song is so timeless and well renowned. It's a very interesting way, and it kind of plays into like women's intuition about, I feel like my partner's cheating on me, and so just say my name to me. Just say my name. I want to hear how you say it, because how you say it is actually going to have so much information in it, like so much social information that I can now determine like how you feel about me based on that. It's really cool, and it's so much more interesting than, you know, you won't give me your password. Like, why not? It's stupid. It's such a silly approach. I don't know. Like, you look at how we present this theme in two different decades from two different, very popular stars, right? And it's like, I say stars. Destiny's Child was a group. Destiny's Child was a group. I understand, but uh, yeah, I think I've made my point though. It's dumb lyrics, and I would like for us to get back to, you know putting some artistic, like actually being artistic with the lyrics that we put out here. And one of the big things that Aubrey mentioned to me is like, oh well, Cameron. One of the things he was saying is that I talk about how I like boundary pushing songs. And I'm like, yes, I do like boundary pushing songs, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about actually having some artisanship, artistic merit or artistic integrity, even when you're making a pop song, right? Because it goes a long way. Like, I would objectively say my name is an interesting, fun song to listen to. It's very artistic. It's very clever. I just explained why, but you can have a song that you just vibe to, or that you relax to, or that you just put on in the background to have fun, and maybe even turn your brain off. And that song can still be good. It can still have clever lyrics and be smart and well made. So yeah, I hear a line like this, can't give me your password. And it's just immediately I'm like, this song was written by a child, or someone with the mentality of a child. That this is stupid. This is immature. I cannot understand how this song made it through, the however many layers of production or filters of quality that would have been at the studio. I can't understand it. So yeah, the I'm really harping on this line because I think it's one of the worst lines in the song, and it's one of those things when I talk about like, yo, this is a stupid song and it's presented stupidly. It's like, here it is. You decide to write, can't give me your password to your phone, not start a fight. It's dumb. It's dumb. So let's listen one more time. And I think the thing that really kills it, sorry, I'll last little bit on this. I think the thing that really pisses me off about it is that the melody is so cool. Like, the vibe of the song is cool. You got this great call and response melody thing going, and that's what you decided to put into it. It's beyond dumb to me. So, all right, I'm getting mad, but like, it makes me mad. It's like I said, this song is a wasted opportunity. This could have been so much more interesting, so cool, and it's, quite frankly, it's not, and I hate that. So cool. Let's get into this chorus. So I forgot to mention the chorus that plays at the beginning of the song is actually not the full chorus. It's just a half chorus, which is pretty cool too, because usually when you do like a half chorus first and then you play the full chorus allows you to add, more meaning and more context to the meaning of the first half, right? And a lot of times that can add a different flavor, or, again, you can contextualize better the first half of the chorus that the listener heard earlier, which can allow you to move the story forward in an interesting or unique way. I think Afterlife is a great example of that, where the first time you hear that chorus, it's very desperate and it's like, I don't belong here. I got to move on, dear. But then when you listen to the second half, it's actually a little more, it's a little bit softer and a little more like, what would be the word? I'm going to miss you. I part of it, it kind of goes back on what the first part of the chorus says, where it's like, I'm desperate to leave, but also there is a part of me that would love to stay. This place is beautiful. Because I think the lyrics of the second, I'm talking about the second half of Afterlife here. The lyrics in the second half, I think, are you know, crap, I'm forgetting. I don't belong here, I've got to move on here and put full of peace and light. I don't belong here. I've got to move on, dear, and escape from this afterlife because this time I'm right to move on and on, far away from here. Oh, yeah, that's it. I've got nothing against you, and surely I'll miss you in this place full of peace and light. And I'd hoped you might take me back inside when the time is right. So it's like, I'm desperate to leave. I'm desperate to get back home. That's the meaning of the first half. But then when you add that second half in, it's like, look, actually, it's really great here. And I'm glad that I'm here. But and I hope that you can let me come back when the time is right. It doesn't contradict the first half of the chorus, but it definitely adds a new layer of meaning to what the narrator is feeling and what's going through their mind, right? So the point being, that's kind of one of the really special things about having half of a chorus and then showing the doubled chorus later. So I don't know if she necessarily does that here. She more just reinforces, the first half. But let's listen real quick. All right, here we go. This is the second half. So a few things musically, we've got this more grand synth coming in to make this part sound a little more full. The first time I heard this, I actually thought it was like a post chorus or a bridge or something, but then she goes back to the I want to know the truth even if it hurts me after this. um yeah, show me the fire, show me the flames, don't try to hide it, spare me the pain. um Again, just very mediocre lyrics. Just I always find it kind of, it's always like hit or miss to me when you have pop stars singing about like the fire. I've got the fire, like show me the fire, or like I've got that the fire burning inside me, or just that all of that whole thing. It's always kind of corny. Um, Metal artists do it too. I just personally don't like it. There's so many more interesting ways to talk about like passion, or in this case like the danger or whatever's going to hurt you, the truth hurting you. I just think that it's been overdone. Like, we get it, fire is both beautiful and intense and harmful. Like, I get it, but that's one of the reasons I think it's such a like ubiquitous human thing, like human experience, like fire, humans, fire, that whole thing, that everyone likes to use it. But again, it's corny. It's corny here. So let's just play it out, or actually let's listen back for those synths, because I think those synths actually sound nice and I want to hear them here. Hear that ding, shimmering synth. And then it comes back in with that da na 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 na. Yeah, so again, nothing that we haven't heard yet or already. So let's get into the second verse. So I think this is where, well, let's just listen to this. It's interesting. It's definitely an interesting little section that's coming up. Sorry, I know I keep pausing. That was a nice little synth transition into it too, like like those Mario sounds I was talking about. My father told me the truth will set you free. I read your history, now it makes sense to me. All right, so let's talk about that for a second. First things first, the drums are super cool because they start off very muted and then they slowly become more prominent as the section goes on. So listen to that real quick. Just pay attention to the drums.
My father told me the truth will set you free.
Hear how you can hear that snare better?
I read your history, now it makes sense to me.
Compare that to
The truth will set you free.
very cool. I always like it when people do like interesting mixed things with the drums. I feel like drums are typically like okay, cool, there's our drum beat, just leave it there or take it away, like have it or take it away. But to actually like add a filter to it, in this case what they did is they cut off all of the high frequencies and then they slowly released that cutoff. It's called a low pass filter. They slowly, you know, increased the low pass filter or decreased the low pass filter in order to let more higher frequencies in over time. And that's why, you know, the drums, they're not even really going up in volume necessarily. They're allowing more of the drums frequencies overall to come through over time. So I just think that's the first cool thing. Second off, I think that's actually a different drum beat than what we've heard in this song.
Intuitions telling me things.
Nope, it is not. It is the same drum beat. Silly Cameron. They wouldn't have a different drum beat in a pop song. All right, so this is the big moment of the revelation, and that's why they have the drums doing that, by the way. That they probably thought they were really clever. You know, like we're gonna, you know, the song opens up because you're realizing things. She says, "My father told me the truth will set you free. I read your history, now it makes sense to me." So this yeah, this is like peak stupid. This is peak stupid. So first off, let me be very clear. The truth will set you free is a Jesus quote. That came from Jesus. Aubrey mentioned that her dad was a pastor or something. I don't think that that's true, but let me check it real quick while I'm talking. Um, anyway, the point being that, oh, yeah, her dad is a pastor. Interesting. So her dad knew that that came from Jesus. I, let me explain this because I don't want it to just be like me ripping on her. You have here one of the greatest quotes of all time from Jesus, and regardless of what you think about Jesus, like Jesus is a very famous individual in human history, right? And this is one of the most iconic, well-known quotes of all time. The truth will set you free, because it is there is truth in that statement, actually, funnily enough. Um, for her to apply it to reading your partner's phone history, it's kind of stupid. It's like it. I don't want to say it's a smack in the face, but it's definitely one of those things that's like, how can I phrase this? It's like taking the Mona Lisa and hanging it up in your room and then like drawing a Joker smile on it or something. It's like you're sort of repurposing this one of the greatest quotes of all time and applying it to something so mundane as looking through your partner's phone history on their phone. And this is what I mean by like that middle school girl syndrome type of thing. It's like you could have done anything. It's let me phrase it a different way. You didn't even have to say, "I read your history, now it makes sense to me." You could have actually had something more different, like more not different, more impactful. Like for example, like you could say, "I saw you with her, now it makes sense to me." You know, my father told me the truth will set you free. I saw you with her. Now it makes sense to me. It's like that would have worked just as fine, and you would have had a more universal, timeless phrasing or interesting phrasing to go along with it. Maybe it's just me. I just think there's something so mundane and boring about like looking through your partner's phone and writing a song about that and trying to turn that into more than it is, as if it's this great epic investigative tale, right? Like she's a sleuth, she's like the Zodiac detective, hunting things down. It's like, no, you think your partner's cheating on you, and so you look through their phone and you find out that they are. It's like good for you. Like, great job. It's just kind of silly. Um, and I go back to what I was saying about, like, you can talk about anything. It's your art. You can do anything that you want, and you chose something so bland. Um, yeah, that's kind of my main thing. And then to bring in, like, my father told me the truth will set you free, as if it's like this big, like, my fatherly wisdom. It's like your dad got that quote from Jesus. Like, come on. The point, the reason why I keep bringing up Jesus is because it just shows to me, it's like a perfect example of the disparity in the wisdom and the intelligence and the, like, artistic quality between these two, uh like between the Bible or Jesus and between Katy Perry. Again, you don't have to be Christian or believe in the Bible to acknowledge that the Bible is a great work of literature, probably the greatest work of literature in American history, or not American, not American history, human history. So it is this epic, book that has been passed down through thousands of years of human history, and one of the great works of art that our species has produced. And she is repurposing it for one of the most mundane, immature, you know, uninspired themes that I've ever seen, or uninspired lines or topics that I've ever seen. Looking through your partner's phone because you suspect them of cheating. It's like, wow. Yeah, it's I know I'm harping on this, but it's just one of the it drives me nuts, because my whole thing is like, why can't we make great works of art? And, like, why do I feel like I don't see as much music like that anymore? And it's because we don't even recognize, like, okay, this is a great work of art, and, like, this isn't. Like, this song is not a work of art, a great work of art. It is pretty bland. It's pretty bad, kind of stupid, a little silly, very immature, especially considering the age and the renown of the person writing it. And then to bring in a quote from the Bible to try to bolster it with wisdom, or like fake wisdom with it. Maybe that's what it is. She's like, my father told me the truth will set you free. I don't think that that's what her father meant when he told her that. And I don't think it's what Jesus meant when he said it. So to bring that line in to try to make this song seem more intelligent, or, more wise than it is very silly. And it's the type of thing that, like, I'm gonna be honest, it's the type of thing that a stupid person does. Is they try to make their stupid things seem more intelligent by bringing in what other smarter people say and applying it to their situation. So anyway, I know I'm going in a little bit, but, like, it's just dumb. It's a dumb line. It's a silly line. I think that's the only other. The melody is the same. Between the verses, my father told me the truth will set you free. Let me see if there's any other musical changes that I missed, though.
My father told me the truth will set you free.
No, it doesn't sound like it. I think I covered everything. Yeah.
Read your history, now it makes sense to me.
Last little bit on this, that I just thought about is, like, this is also the climax of the song. So one compliment that I will give this song is that the theme is actually, like, properly applied, and the theme is there. Like, I want to know the truth even if it hurts me. The first verse and pre-chorus show how she is suspicious. Something's not right. You're not looking at me. You're not letting me see your phone with your password, all this stuff, right? Like, that she's suspicious. Then you get into this second verse, and she's kind of repurposed this second verse to be like a bridge, or to serve the same function as the bridge, where this is like the thematic climax of the song. Like, this is the big moment when something changes. So, like, when you think about a climax in a story or even a song, that's kind of the moment where, like, that is like the moment of change. That's the moment, the peak of the action, right? And that's where we know, okay, what's going to happen. Maybe this isn't, how can I phrase this? Let me explain what I'm having trouble with right now. It's interesting because usually you would have like act 1, act 2, act 3, and you have like this act 2 low point, which would then lead into act 3, which has the climax and resolution in it, right? So the act 2 low point is when the main character or narrator loses, or they get hit with something and they have to learn from it, and that's where the main character in the story makes a change in themselves, which then allows them to overcome the struggle in act 3, and then that leads to the resolution. And the whole point of the story is that the character that you knew in act 1 at the beginning is different from the character you now know at the end of act 3, mainly because of the change that they went through in act 2, right? So that's the general plot of a story in general. So she's repurposed the second verse here to act as like a bridge. And so this really isn't like the climax. I said that earlier, but I don't think it's true. This is more like the second act low point. And then the pre-chorus, I guess, would be the climax. With the chorus, the last chorus being like the resolution. So anyway, this is like a second act low point. This is when the change occurs. So I'm going to give her props here. At least there is a change in this song. So the character that we know at the end is not quite the same character that we know at the beginning. To be fair, she didn't necessarily change. She just received new information. So, you know, maybe she's ready to leave her partner or break up with her partner now. We'll have to wait until the second pre-chorus to find out. We'll get there eventually, but yeah, the point is like there at least is a change here where something happens, unlike Woman's World, where that was not the case. Woman's World, as far as I'm concerned, is a complete waste of a song, waste of time. So yeah, with that said, compliments to her for actually having a song with a change and like a general story in it. Let's get into this pre-chorus though. Here we go. I'm gonna pause it there. I look in the mirror, see someone who's coming strong. I've never been clearer. I'm at peace with moving on. Those are fine. I'm not gonna lie, those are decent lyrics. And she does add like a very low volume harmony on the I'm at peace with moving on. I don't know if it necessarily has a purpose. It doesn't need to. I don't think it sounds nice. It's a good sounding harmony, and it bolsters. See, I would consider that maybe like the climax. You know, I've never been clearer. I'm at peace with moving on. Like that's the change is now complete. Like she is a different person than she was, right? So let's take it back and listen for that harmony. I'm at peace with moving on. You got that. I'm at peace with moving on. It's a low volume harmony. But then we get into this really clunky section in the second half of this pre-chorus. I'm at peace with moving on. I'm feeling different now that I'm outside of the storm. I'm feeling distance. It's always dark before the dawn. I wanna know the truth. So she does that harmony on the It's Always Dark Before the Dawn as well, which I think is nice. It sounds like a third harmony. But I'm seeing it different now that I'm outside of the storm. Like, again, that sounds clunky to me. Something about it is weird, and I didn't even understand what she was saying at first, which I don't know. Something about that just rubs me the wrong way. Maybe it's just me being nitpicky, but it's just kind of goofy. But second off, I'm seeing it different now that I'm outside of the storm. I'm feeling the distance. It's always dark before the dawn. Unbelievably corny, unbelievably cliche, overused. This is what I was saying about like every line in this song, even the good ones, like I'm at peace with moving on. It's like there's nothing that I haven't heard before in like 50 other songs. Very cliche. Kind of drives me nuts, especially like it's always dark before the dawn. I mean, seriously. So anyway, let's listen to that one more time, and maybe you can see what I'm talking about with the I'm seeing it different now that I'm outside of the storm. It just comes off as clunky to me. Here we go. I'm at peace with moving on. I'm seeing it different now that I'm outside of the storm. Here's the way she says storm, like that Billie Eilish singing in cursive bullshit. You know, now that I'm outside of the storm. Anyway, and then you get It's Always Dark Before the Dawn. Stupid. It's always dark before the dawn. So she does do a nice little background vocal harmony or vocal track there with a lot of reverb. I don't know if it continues on. I can't remember, so we'll listen to it. But yeah, I always like when pop artists do that. It sounds nice. It kind of it elevates the final chorus, which I think is cool, even if it doesn't necessarily serve a purpose all the time. Let's take another listen. Hear that? Yeah, this is all sounding exactly the same. So she does have some extra harmonies there, and she's got like a background one that does a long note, but for whatever reason, they actually cut that long note off. So she's singing like hurts, like just the word hurts, it sounds like, over the hurts me. And then they cut it. It would have been cool if she kept singing it and extending it out, but it just sounds like they faded out right before you would have been able to actually hear it. But take another listen. Hear that hurts? It's like right around that frequency. Hurts. Hurts. She does have some higher harmonies on the left and right speakers on that hurts me. Again, just like little things to bolster it. Little harmony there. I don't know if I picked up on that last time. Oh, there it is. I was like, damn, she's got to have something extra here. There's no way they'd let her, like, it's just so common to have something like that in these pop songs. But there it is. The spare me the pain in the background. Oh, and then she does a low harmony there on the last hurts me. Slow, seductive, but also kind of powerful. Hurts me. Check it out. Hurts me. All right, so then we have that investigative synth going, the Dark Knight synth playing still. And we get what is, I'll be honest, when the song ended the first time I heard it, I was like, okay, that was there's some really, really stupid lines, but at least it's like, you know, whatever. It's not terrible. At least there was like a full theme to it and like a story. Like I can give her that. And then you have this shit.
The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about voicemails. Let's talk about voicemails for a second. As somebody who has put voicemails into a song, let me explain this. You have to be really careful when you're doing voicemails in a song. It is so hit or miss because it can really, really quickly be corny. It can be really corny and really stupid, and that's exactly what happened here. First off, doing the pitch down on the voicemail, that is, you know, the person you are trying to reach is not available. Like, that is the stupidest shit. So beyond corny. It is literally like, to me, this is a 39-year-old who thinks she's doing something cool and serious. It's like, it's so dumb. Maybe just instead of ripping on it, let me explain. First off, the pitch down thing, like going down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to this real quick.
The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Like, not available. Like that was an effect that was cool in like the 80s and 90s when they first learned how to alter audio like that, you know. And then they, like, in the 2000s, when, you know, you start having songs and like pop songs especially, they would do that all the time. Like, everyone was doing it, you know, we'll shut the shit down, you know, like Kesha and Eminem and everyone was doing it. It was just this really common thing in like 2010. It is no longer a cool thing to do. It is way overplayed. So to do that on a voicemail, which again, voicemails you have to be really careful with. I've always thought, and this is actually what I did. For those of you who don't know, I wrote a song for my dad called 55, where I put, you know, my dad passed away a few years back, but I put some of his voicemails on the song. To me, that is when you can actually like have an impactful voicemail, is when you know who that person is, or you like the person is actually important to what the song is about. So I think about like an Eminem song. I think he just released a song called Temporary, where he has, they're not necessarily voicemails, but they're clips of Haley, like sound clips from his daughter Haley, and he's who he's writing the song to. And that's the type of thing that like can be impactful and add meaning to the song. If it's just a random voicemail, again, it's really hard to make that work well, especially if it's like this canned, corny, like scripted out voicemail. It's the point is it can sound really campy and really stupid and corny really quick. Like it takes away from the authenticity of the song by having like this, a singer who might not necessarily be an actor or a voice actor, doing something like, "Hey babe, I've really been missing you lately. Please give me a call." It's like, it sounds dumb. It doesn't work. And that's pretty much exactly what happens here, which I'll let it play in a second. But like, it's just a combination of corny things. And then even apart from voicemail, I think spoken word stuff in general, you also have to be careful with. Like anything spoken word in a song, you have to make sure you nail that. And that's really, really hard to do, because a lot of times when artists do spoken word stuff, it's like a little exaggerated and it sounds kind of dumb. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think one of the newer Taylor Swift songs is guilty of that. I'm gonna play it real quick. I actually like this song. I can do it with a broken heart. I don't know, some people might get mad at me, but like, let's listen to this real quick.
You know you could so miserable. And nobody even knows.
That's stupid. I'm sorry. I actually think Taylor Swift's a great artist, and that's actually a really good song, but that's stupid. It's really corny, really campy. I don't like it when artists do it, and I don't like it when they do it bad. So you just have to be really careful with that. Even someone as big as Taylor Swift. Now I get it. Like that song's for the girlies, and like the Swifties love it. Like, I'm miserable. Like, fine, you can have your opinion, but I completely disagree. I think it's dumb, and I think it actually takes away from like the integrity of the song to a certain extent. That doesn't mean that you can't ever do some spoken word stuff in a song and it can't be impactful. You just have to really be careful about that and find the right balance. And I don't think that Katy Perry did that here. So let's take another listen. Let's listen to the full voicemail real quick.
Reach his phone now.
Hey babe, where are you? I can't get hold of you. We really should talk. Where are you?
So dumb. So let me explain a few things here. So first off, this is exactly what I was just saying about like, you have somebody who might not be maybe a great singer, but not necessarily a great actor or voice actor, trying to be serious. It's like, "Hey babe, where are you? I can't get a hold of you. We really should talk. Where are you?" It's like, it sounds stupid, and that's not how people talk. Like, no girl has ever left a voicemail like that sounds like that, and like as corny and stupid as that, on their boyfriend's phone. And if you have, you gotta work on your acting, because nobody actually talks like that. Second off, I honestly think that this voicemail, maybe it's just me, but to me it feels like it kind of undoes the theme for a little bit. If the whole point of the song is like, "Oh, I found out you're cheating on me," and the whole, like the second pre-chorus, which I'm gonna call the climax of the song, it's like, "I look in the mirror, see someone who's coming strong. I've never been clearer. I'm at peace with moving on. I'm seeing it different now that I'm outside of the storm. I'm feeling the distance. It's always dark before the dawn." It's like, okay, all of that is implying that she's going to leave her partner. Why is she calling? And why is she concerned about not being able to get a hold of her partner? Isn't the whole point that it's like, "Oh, I'm ready to leave you. Bye"? See, I feel like this voicemail would have been really great, like in the middle of the song, before the, "My father told me the truth will set you free." Like, then it would have actually had an impact, because it would have been like, oh, she's trying to get in touch with her boyfriend, he's being shady, and then she looks through the history and it's like, she found it, she caught him, right? Like that would have been impactful. Instead, she throws it at the end here, and it doesn't really make any sense why she would be trying to get a hold of the person that she's feeling distant from and that she's okay with moving on from because he's cheating on her. So again, maybe that's just my interpretation of it. You obviously could say like, well, she's trying to get in touch with him so she can break up with him. But it's like, all right, fine. But if she can't get a hold of him, but she intends to leave him, would she really be that concerned with, because it almost sounds worried in the track. Listen.
Where are you?
Reach his phone now.
Hey, babe. Where are you? I can't get hold of you. We really should talk. Where are you?
Like she sounds concerned, like she's worried or frustrated, which is the complete opposite of the point of the song, which is she's learning to move on from her cheating boyfriend, right? So kind of silly. And then the last thing that I want to note on this is she says, "Where are you?" twice. It's like, again, you just can do better. You can just do better. Hey, babe, where are you? I can't get a hold of you. We really should talk. Please call me back as soon as you can. It's like, hey, babe, where are you? I can't get a hold of you. Where are you? Is it, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, I think it's Scary Movie 3 at the beginning where she says like, are you okay? Hold on. I'm going to see if I can play that real quick, because it's hilarious. Let's go to YouTube. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. Are you okay? Yeah, here it is. You should be able to hear it. Come on, come on. Oh, it's gonna screw me. Right at the end. All right, here we go.
Katie?
Oh my God, you can't make this shit up. Katy.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
So in case you don't know, the scene is, it's kind of a play on The Ring, where she walks in and her friend's dead in the chair. She's got like this mangled face and she's like, are you okay? And then she taps her and her head falls off and she looks at the head on the ground. She's like, are you okay again? I love that she said, Katy, are you okay? Cool. All right. I think that's where we'll end it. That's a good stopping point. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this. Well, actually, so hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's the end of the song. Let me just look through my notes. Let me make sure I got everything. I think I did. So I'm going to go through my little template. I know I removed this when we were doing it for our main episodes, but I'd like to bring it back just for these breakdowns. So the purpose of this song, it's funny because I don't think this song was ever intended to be a single, which makes me actually think it was meant to be like a somewhat genuine song. Like this was probably a song that Katy actually thought was cool or interesting. Unfortunately, I would completely disagree. It's a pretty stupid song, but I shouldn't say that. It's got some interesting stuff in it. The vocal melodies are interesting. I just think the lyrics are dumb as hell. And the theme is cool, but she delivered it terribly. But I'll get to that in a second. So, but the point is I think that she actually like didn't see this song as a single that would go out, and so this was just like a passionate song, like a passion project song for her. Like maybe she's experienced this and she wanted to write about it, which fine, do your thing. The genre is pop, just straight up pop. The song structure is pretty basic. It's just intro, chorus, like a half chorus, then verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then the outro voicemail. But and I critiqued her on Woman's World when she did this same structure and didn't have like any sort of climax or like thematic climax. But I actually will give her props here. She repurposed the second verse to act like a bridge, so that way you could have it allowed her to have that climax, like the change happen. So I really do like that, and I thought that was cool. So she makes that work this time, at least in terms of the story following a normal story structure. Compositionally, it's pretty basic. Like I complimented the bass line and then the high pitched synths. I think those are really cool. The vocal melodies are actually pretty solid too. Again, nothing crazy, but like still cool, especially the pre-chorus. I like call and response stuff like that because the reason I like call and response stuff, just to clarify, is that you have to just make a distinction between the two. Like you have to have two different things that you're doing a call and response for. So it actually forces you to not just keep with the same melodies. One of my favorite call and responses is actually an Avenged Sevenfold song called Tonight the World Dies. And it's a call and response between the vocals and a slide guitar. Let's take a listen real quick. Oh.
Doubt the choice,
So here.
lost the meaning
So he sings,
of our stay.
and then the slide guitar comes in.
Learn to live another day.
See, like that's cool to me. Like you have to instead of having just doubt the choices that we make. Na 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 na. Na, 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 na. Instead of just continuously singing throughout that section, actually having that like slide guitar in there to differentiate the sound of the verse is cool. So she does that really well with her vocals in the pre-chorus, and I got to compliment her for it. The mix, pretty cool. Actually, like some decently cool things in the mix. It definitely has that like I said, that nighttime driving sound, which I personally love. I love songs like that. But then doing like the high pass filter or the frequency filter on the drums during the second verse when she says, the truth will set you free. I think that was cool. And then everything sounds really nice. I think the only thing mix wise that threw me off is the I got a vision keeping me up at night. Like I think it sounds a little over compressed and it took me out of the song just a little bit, but that's all good. Let's talk about the lyrical content. I think it's stupid. I think the lyrical content is really, really dumb. I think that, at best, it's just okay. Like she's just saying fine, like normal lines, like you're acting so distant. Who do you see when you close your eyes? It's like, all right, cool. Show me the fire, show me the flames. Don't try to hide it. Spare me the pain. Again, very generic cliche lyrics. We've heard stuff like that a million times if you've listened to pretty much any pop record. But yeah, that's at its best. At its worst, it's, or in the middle, it's cliche and stupid. And then at its worst, it's downright embarrassing for somebody of Katy Perry's caliber. To make the climax of your song, or like the big moment in your song, I read your history, now it makes sense to me. It's like it's so stupid. It's so lame and immature. And I would point both hands to Taylor Swift, like that Will Smith meme. Like, look at Taylor Swift if you want to see what unique, interesting, creative lyrics look like in a generic pop song. Like, you can say what you want about Taylor Swift, but she always picks crazy lyrics. In fact, when she released this latest album, I actually saw that she was getting critiqued because some of her lyrics were too out there and silly. Like I think she had this one, hold on, it was something about like a Labrador or something. Taylor Swift, Labrador lyric. What was it? I can't find it. Oh, like a tattooed golden retriever. Yeah, that was the line that I saw got memed a little bit, like a tattooed golden retriever. Um, it's like, what even is that? What does that mean? I mean, obviously it's referring to a boy, who looks like a golden retriever boy, but he's got tattoos. But yeah, the point is like that's a creative lyric, and at the very least, it's an interesting, image and an interesting lyric. So again, both both fingers pointing at Taylor Swift if you want to see what like interesting lyrics in like normal sounding pop songs looks like. Uh, the themes, the theme is I want to know the truth even if it hurts. That's it. That's the theme. You know it from the beginning. It doesn't change. She discovers the truth, and it's funny because it doesn't even seem like it hurts her when she discovers it. She says, you know, my father told me the truth will set you free. I read your history now; it makes sense to me. She doesn't even talk about the hurt. It's kind of all about like that's fine, everything's good. Anyway, that's the theme. Doesn't change. And then finally we get to like the artistic merit and like my final verdict on this. Um, yeah, I think that I stick by what I said. This is like a missed opportunity. I think this song could have been really cool. I think the music is cool. I think even the theme is cool. Like like wanting to know the truth even if it hurts. Like that's something that we can all kind of relate to. Which is why I think the truth will set you free is such an iconic line, in our history, in human history, is because uh we all know what that feels like wanting to know the truth, even if it's more unpleasant than the comforting lies that we've been told, right? Um, Unfortunately, I don't think that Katy Perry was up to the task of making this an interesting song and making it a better song. So it just comes off as kind of dumb. And I think it's just going to be another really, really forgettable song in the music landscape. In fact, let me just take a quick look real quick and see how many listens it's got. So I think her album, let's see, her new album has been out now for a few weeks. Obviously, Women's World is going to be the most popular. Yeah, this is the least listened to song on the album with 2.5 million views or listens on Spotify, which I think is a bummer because I actually think it's better than like Woman's World and Lifetimes and Nirvana and some of these other songs. But hey, that's what happens when you take a song like this and you just bury it in your album so you can have your 21 Savage feature. But to be fair, Gimme Gimme with 21 Savage is pretty good. So anyway, cool. So I think the song is just a wasted opportunity and an example of what happens if you don't actually like have wisdom and you don't bring that wisdom into your art and portray it in an interesting, unique way. And you instead opt for corny lyrics like it's always darkest before the dawn. It's like geez. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this though. I know that, this was a little bit different. And I hope that y'all still go and I think more people will still prefer the discussion episodes with Aubrey, but I like doing this. I think it helps me as a songwriter, and I think any other songwriters who listen will enjoy it. I do actually. I want to keep doing this, and this is one of the reasons I actually started the podcast was to do this. So I hope that y'all liked it, and yeah. Again, if you haven't checked us out, we're Simple Songwriting across all channels. Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. I do release little solo videos, like shorter 10-minute videos on Spotify or on YouTube that I don't really put on Spotify. Maybe I should, but I don't. So if you want to listen to more stuff that's like a little bit more concise, go and check those out. And otherwise, check us out on Spotify. Put everything there and give us a follow. All right. Thanks, everybody. Wale.